Wall Street Journal reporting another positive sign of growth in the economy: loans, bank loans to small and medium-sized businesses. The paper says weekly commercial growth is positive again for the first time since the recession began. However, the gain is only 2%. Time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Larry Winget is the author of Your Kids Are Your Own Fault. Paul Westcott is the host of White House Brief, and SE Cupp is a conservative columnist. I just tripped all over this. Paul, let's start with you.
Well, I'm shocked considering the Wall Street reform bill is actually in a position that it's going to cost banks more money. It's going to tax banks more money, and they're passing on the cost to us. So I'm actually glad they're actually opening up this money to be lent. I'm a little surprised, though. It's a good.
It's definitely a good thing, but Larry, I don't think they'd do it unless they thought they could make money off of it.
Well, nobody does anything unless they think they can make money off of it. But it is a good thing, and ultimately, the more money that they can borrow, the more money they can probably spend hiring people, and the quicker we can get all those 99 weekers off of unemployment and back onto somebody's payroll.
That's right. Essie?
Yeah, I mean, the general wisdom is that this might presage some new hiring, and I guess we'll get those numbers out tomorrow, and everyone's, I know, eager to see them. But I think it's important to point out that the housing market still is in decline. The real estate loans are still down, and that's going to be really a huge hit on the economy for a while, I think.
Well, the way consumers are being treated is a little different than the way small and medium-sized businesses are being treated right now. All right, Press Secretary Robert Gibbs announcing this week his plan to leave the White House, and President Obama says he understands. And here's the quote. He had a 6-year stretch now where basically he's been going 24/7 with relatively modest pay. But is making a 6-figure salary really all that modest? Larry, was making $172,000.
Well, when you consider maybe all the hours he's put in, that might be considered modest. It's mostly going to be considered modest based on how much money he can make. I've been speaking professionally for 20 years to corporations all over the world, and I've been working with these past former press secretaries, and I know what they get paid on the speaking circuit. He can make that in 2 speeches, so it's going to be relatively modest based on what he will be paid.
All right, Paul.
I just think it's one of those ridiculous misunderstandings about how much people are actually paid in the private sector. I mean, we saw the raises, for all the White House communication staff, and my favorite part is it comes immediately after they said we had a failed communication strategy for health care. Oh, that's why it failed. We didn't communicate it well. They all got bonuses. He makes $172K. He's just got to shut up.
This is how it works in government, Essie.
There's so much wrong with this. I don't know where to start. Number one, we were told by the Obama administration for 2 years that if you make over $200,000, you are rich, you are wealthy, and thus taxable. How is $172,000 not rich or modest? Doesn't make any sense. How is Sarah Palin lambasted for leaving a job to go make money, but Robert Gibbs leaving a job to go make money? We'll celebrate him. I don't even know how to unravel this. Let's not even go to the fact that it's so tone deaf of the president to say it's a gaffe. It's an absolute mistake.
I kind of wondered why he brought it up in the first place.
Right?
I have to say, it was curious.
Weird.
The whole thing was bizarre. The whole speech he made about Gibbs going away, it was so weird.
Gibbsy.
You get into that communications room with those reporters, you don't know what's going to
Farewell, Gibbsy.
All right. A PC version of some of the classics, an Alabama publisher will release new editions of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, replacing the N-word with the word slave between the 2 books. The word appears more than 220 times. Some accuse the publisher, that is, of desecrating these classic novels. Essie, what do you make of this?
If Mark Twain were alive, he would be pissed, okay? As an author, I gotta say, you don't want someone messing with your book. Look, if there's some context to Huck Finn that needs to be explained, what better place than in a classroom to have those discussions? And if a 4th grade audience is too young for that conversation, don't teach the book until 6th grade. But don't change it. How dare they?
What do you make of this, Paul?
Well, I had a little cousin who actually just finished reading it, or her mother finished reading it to her, and basically what she ended up saying was, well, they explained the word, said don't say it, and it's as bad as the F word, please don't say it, but it's what was said during this time. You're altering history if you change this book. It's political correctness gone awry.
You're sanitizing history.
You are, exactly.
There's not going to be any communication about what's wrong with this word if you don't talk about it. Larry, do you agree with all of us? We're sort of on the same page here.
Sort of, but not quite. You know, every time you watch a watch a reality television show and somebody says a word that's offensive, it's either bleeped or left out. Every classic movie you see that gets a network television is either overdubbed or edited in some way to make it suitable for all audiences, and nobody raises hell about that. I'm not for censorship, but I'm saying I understand, because right now the book is being left out of the curriculum and being banned. It's one of the top 10 banned books. So I'm saying if it gets it back in the hands of kids and lets them hear a great story, I'm not seeing quite the big deal we're making of it.
Well, big controversy over that one. Thanks, Larry, Paul, and SE. Appreciate your time today. President Obama promising to freeze federal pay, but not for those with friends in low places. I'll give you my 2 cents more on how unions are protecting their own.